A new threat emerges. The parallax drifted silently through space, its once pristine hull now scarred from the battle above Titan. Inside, the crew was restless. The victory against Delta's forces had been costly, and while the immediate threat had been neutralized, the war was far from over. Elena stood at the command center, her eyes focused on the holographic display. The vast emptiness of space stretched before them, but something felt wrong. "Where's the progenitor?" she asked, turning to Kale, who had been working tirelessly with the recovered hybrid. Kyle's face darkened. "The progenitor? It disappeared after the battle. We've lost all tracking signals." Zero stepped forward. "We knew this wasn't going to be easy, but Delta's forces may have been broken for now. Whatever is left will be harder to deal with. We need to be ready." Before they could continue, the communication officer's voice broke through the tension. "Commander, we're receiving an encrypted transmission. It's from the Malien High Council." Everyone froze. A call to action. In the High Council's darkened chamber aboard the Obsidian Ark, Cyrex stood in front of a massive screen, watching as the encrypted transmission was decoded. The face of a shadowy figure appeared, its features obscured in the low light. "We have failed," the figure said, its voice cold and emotionless. "The Genesis protocol is collapsing. Delta was a tool, and now the true enemy reveals itself." Cyrex narrowed his eyes. "Who are you?" The figure's eyes gleamed with malice. "I am the one who was left behind, the one you abandoned. I am Omega." A chill ran through Cyrex as he recognized the name. Omega, the counterpart to Delta, the true successor to Genesis. Unlike Delta, Omega's purpose was not just to conquer. It was to reshape the entire galaxy in its own image, remaking every species in its perfect design. "The end is coming," Omega continued. "You cannot stop it, but I will give you a chance. Surrender now, and I will spare your life. If you choose to resist, the stars will burn." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in a heavy silence. The darkest hour. The Parallax crew gathered around the war table, the weight of Omega's threat sinking in. Marcus leaned forward, his face a mask of determination. "Omega isn't just another Malien leader. It's something else, something we weren't prepared for. Delta was bad enough, but Omega—" Elena finished his sentence. "Omega is the final evolution of Genesis. It's everything Evelyn was afraid of. It's the weapon that was never meant to be used." Zero's voice was steady but grim. "Then we don't fight Omega with our fists alone. We need to find its weakness. We need to understand its origins before it destroys everything we've fought for." Kyle stood up, his hand resting on the table. "I know where we can start. There's a place in the far reaches of the galaxy, an ancient library where the first records of the Genesis Protocol were kept. It's a risk, but it's the only chance we have." Lise, who had been silent up until this point, spoke up. "I'll go. I know the location." Elena nodded. "We're all in this together. Prepare the ship. We leave in 1 hour." The Forgotten Library. The journey took them beyond the known territories, into the dark, uncharted regions of the galaxy. As they approached the library, an eerie silence enveloped the ship. It was a vast, ancient structure suspended within a massive asteroid field, its surface covered in ancient symbols and glyphs. Liz guided them inside, her expertise in ancient technology and Malien lore invaluable. As they entered the central chamber, a massive crystalline structure rose before them, pulsing with a strange energy. "This is it," Lise said, her voice barely a whisper. "The heart of Genesis." Marcus approached the structure cautiously. "We need to find out how Omega was created and why it was hidden." Elena looked at the central console, now illuminated by the touch of Lysa's hand. "I hope we can unlock its secrets in time." Suddenly, the chamber trembled. A voice echoed through the walls, a voice that seemed to come from the very heart of the structure. "Welcome to the beginning of the end. The awakening." Before they could react, the crystalline structure began to glow brighter, and the walls around them shifted, revealing long hidden chambers. Data streams flashed across the room, revealing fragments of long-forgotten history. "This is it," Kale muttered, eyes wide as he scanned the ancient records. Omega wasn't just created by Evelyn. It was an experiment, an attempt to harness the power of the first Maliens, the progenitors themselves. Lys's eyes widened. The progenitors weren't just the first Maliens. They were the first hybridization of multiple species, the perfect fusion. Omega was meant to combine the strengths of every race in the galaxy, eliminating all weaknesses. As she spoke, the structure suddenly powered up, and a hologram of a dark, imposing figure appeared before them. Omega in its original form, but its face was distorted, a fusion of multiple alien species. "This is the true face of Genesis," the figure's voice echoed, cold and devoid of empathy. "You have no place in my new order." The hologram flickered and disappeared, leaving the crew in stunned silence. The hunt begins. With the newfound knowledge, the crew of the Parallax made their way back to their ship, but they weren't alone. Outside, a fleet of ships had surrounded the asteroid, their weapons primed. Omega's forces had found them. As the Parallax blasted out of the asteroid field, the fleet opened fire. Vrax, Nyx, and the hybrid soldiers manned the ship's defenses as the crew prepared for the fight of their lives. "They know what we're after," Zero growled. "We need to keep moving." "Not if I have a say in it," Elena replied, her hands steady on the controls as she engaged the ship's warp drive. The Parallax shot forward, narrowly escaping Omega's fleet, but they knew this was only the beginning. Omega was coming, and it would stop at nothing to ensure the galaxy bent to its will. A glimpse of the future. As the ship raced through the stars, the crew gathered in the command room, knowing they were at the precipice of an unimaginable war. "What now?" Marcus asked. Elena glanced at the crew, her eyes filled with resolve. "We prepare, we hunt Omega, and we end this once and for all." As she spoke, a flicker of light in the distance caught their attention. A signal, faint but unmistakable. A warning. A voice, distant and broken, echoed across the comms. "They are coming for you. Don't trust Omega. It's not what you think. Beware, the true destroyer." The transmission cut off, leaving the crew in a sea of uncertainty.